All right, wartime here. Now, y'all got to see this. So, I'm between work. I'm between jobs right now, so I thought I'd sit here and give me a nice little something going at Circle K, trying to just keep these bills paid and everything. And while doing the training videos, I came across the whole diversity and inclusion thing, and I think it's fair to make the obvious assessment that this inclusion stuff is basically a brand new Jim Crow. And when you see the terminology and everything in this video to try and push this reverse racism, that's all it is. It's a reverse racism, but it's still racism. It has the same ends as racism does. So we gonna watch it, and you're gonna have to probably come back to this a couple times. Like, you can't find this nowhere. You know, you're gonna have to just sit here and just look at it for what it is. But the main thing is that creator is Eric Bybee, and it's made by the Act, and it's supported and funded by the Act Women's Council. And I would just sit there and look them up, and you gotta read that puts the Black Lives Matter page shame. So let's start.
Our brain receives about 11 million pieces of information per second. It's consciously aware of only about 40. To handle it all, our brain takes shortcuts to process the rest. Brain shortcuts are shaped by our own life experiences, things learned from others, social media. All these things make up who we are and influence how we act and feel around others. Cultural stereotypes also impact our brain shortcuts. We don't even have to believe the stereotype for it to impact how we think about something or a person at an unconscious level. This is unconscious bias. Quick, unintentional, and often wrong judgments, decisions, and opinions about people or situations based on limited facts and our own life experiences. These quick and often wrong judgments can.
All right, let's stop for a second. All right, let me sit here and bring this back. Let me bring this back. Let me bring this back. This definition, it sounds pretty okay, right? It sounds like anybody who really believes that maintaining an this unconscious bias thing, you're a bad person. You making wrong judgments about people, uh, basing your decisions and opinions on factors outside of examining something. And that first, let's break this down. Let me get this straight. How are you supposed to judge what is a good person? What are you supposed to base that off of? You know, maybe the video is gonna sit there and tell you moving forward, but I already saw the video, so I already know it's gonna work. But let's go through this together. What exactly are the parameters we are to avoid when making judgments about people? Let's go. Let's go.
These quick and often wrong judgments can tip the scale, giving individuals and groups both undeserved advantage and disadvantage. Let's see an example by solving a riddle. A father and son are in a car crash. The father is seriously injured. The boy is rushed to surgery. The surgeon sees the boy and says, "I can't operate on this boy. He's my son."
Okay. Anybody who's ever saw this joke before, you already know what the answer is. But before we sit here and kind of get into that aspect of it, let's sit here and first do a little bit of homework to see if this bias is let's do a little bit of homework to see if this bias is actually unfounded. Let's look at something. Let's see, how many surgeons in the US are women? Probably gonna be a nice little chunk, 20%. Only 19% all surgeons in the U.S. are fucking women. All right. So if you sitting here assuming that a surgeon is a man, you would actually have, despite what anybody says, a correct understanding that a lot of surgeons are guys. It is what it is. So why is it so hard for them to draw the conclusion that when you ask this question to people, they're gonna struggle to come to understand. Oh shoot, that's right. It's the mom. You're not gonna sit there and play Sherlock Holmes with it and go, well, dad was in the car, so that would mean no, dude. You're gonna sit here and just assume, oh shoot, what you got two dads? That even seems more likely than a female surgeon. And I'm sure there are female surgeons who are out there, maybe even female surgeons who will see this video. But the reality that we live in shows that most surgeons are women. I mean, most surgeons are men. That's just what it is.
Jen is the boy's mother. Over 40% can't solve this riddle because they're unable to imagine the surgeon is a woman.
Yeah, but how much of the population is actually, medical professionals who would understand that that would be the case? How many of us even know enough about the field, about doctors to just, what does this prove? That you can't sit here and just, this isn't even about imagining. This is about the fact that most surgeons are dudes, that most surgeons are men. This doesn't escape that reality. And over 40% of people think most surgeons are men. They're not sitting here playing Sherlock Holmes with this riddle. They're not sitting here looking at this question, breaking down the evidence like that.
Let's see more examples. How do you feel about people who don't eat meat or eat meat at every meal, are overweight or underweight, are outgoing or shy, short or tall, have tattoos or body piercings, have lots of kids or no kids at all, have a disability? Can you
Here's my thing. None of these things tell you whether or not these people are. None of these things really speak to their state of mind, their moral compass, if they have one. None of these things. We're not basing our judgments of people on whether they're short or tall, or if they're shy or outgoing. We're basing our judgments of people based on one, what we've been through before, and two, understanding that there's an idea that it could happen again. When you sit here and see because it's put together by the ACT Women's Council, let's sit here and use women examples. If a woman's been raped by a man, it's perfectly reasonable for her to be socially awkward and distance herself from men. You would be beyond stupid to sit here and get raped by a guy and then go, oh, but not all guys. If you feel some type of way about it, you feel some type of way about it, and that's the truth. To sit here and try to go, well, not all guys, not all guys, not all guys. I'm going to sit here and do around men what I was doing before I got raped and act like this doesn't affect me. Well, you're going to sit here and live a lie, and that's going to create more problems. You know, I'm not super smarty, academic dude here. But I recognize that there's something wrong with this, wrong with trying to tell people not to have judgments. If you have a lot of kids, that should say something. Those kids are a major part of your life. If you're disabled, look, man, a lot of you disabled people, not even people who just missing limbs and stuff, but even the people who are who just have bad debilitating illnesses. We sit there and make certain judgments about them. What am I supposed to sit there and just assume that am I just supposed to assume that due to the fact that you're disabled, you should just be able to bench 250 pounds. Come on, let's be wise here. And honestly, this is just a matter of wisdom. Like, what am I supposed to sit there and imagine that a woman not having kids or having kids doesn't affect you know her ability to be looked at as a potential mate or as a good worker or as anything else? No, these things matter. Have tattoos or body piercings. Yo, if you one of those people that's inked up head to toe, you know, you can't be in a lot of photos. This it just is what it is. These are bad, this is a bad example to show what bias is. These are terrible examples because when there's more to it than just what you saw in a 2-second clip. And a lot of times, your assumptions based on these things, they're actually correct. Because once you kind of live long enough, you already look, man, when I see somebody who has a bunch of tattoos and a bunch of body piercings, I mean, I don't even think you got a job outside of being a tattoo artist and a body piercing expert. So, and if my assumption is wrong, understand that that assumption was built on the fact that most people who do have a lot of tattoos and a lot of body piercings, they struggle with employment. That's where that came from. You're the exception, not the rule.
Attempting to sort people into groups? What about people who don't speak your language, have an accent, are on welfare or government assistance, didn't go to college, are over 50, don't practice religion, or are very religious, drive an electric car? These are all examples of characteristics we can hold a conscious bias toward. You might encounter a person with any of these characteristics.
It's not a bias, it's you protecting yourself. You have to deal with and interact with these people. If you sit here and get a bad vibe from somebody, you're going to naturally distance yourself away from them in some way, shape, or form possible. And whether you want to preach inclusion or not, I mean, I bring it back to the rape example I did. Look, if you've been raped by a guy and you have trouble trusting guys, I'm not gonna sit here and take it too hard that you don't really want to be around me. I'm gonna sit here and be more mad if you sit there and go, "Oh yeah, I'll go out on a date with you." You sitting here being just awkward and weird as hell because you are just borderline freaking out being so close to a guy after that terrible experience you just had. You wasted my time and yours. And that's what this inclusion stuff does. It's a time waster. It's a time waster. It's all gonna tie around. Don't worry, it's coming around. Just give us
Given day in our stores or in our daily lives. If unchecked, our unconscious biases can weaken our engagement, ability to innovate, and to understand our.
and this right here, this is a blatant lie because what they're preaching destroys the people's ability to engage with each other, halts innovation, and creates nothing but misunderstanding. And you're going to see it when they sit here and put this theory to the test. And this is where they're going to have to cut that clip out of this video. It's coming up. They're going to have to cut this clip out of this video because this is where it's coming. Where they sit there and show you this inclusion crap doesn't work. It's a joke.
And customers. This can negatively impact us as individuals and as a business. Remember, unconscious bias is not intentional. It's part of the lens which we see the world. There are steps we can take to counter it.
Oh, wait. Before we get to the real juicy part, yeah, you got to hear this crap. First off, how can you counter an unconscious bias? You don't know if you have it or not. It's unconscious. You're fighting something you can't see, can't smell, can't touch, can't weigh, can't measure it. But you're supposed to challenge this. This is a war that literally will never end. This is a fight for social change that is nothing but an infinite battle, infinite money pit, infinite waste of time and resources. Because number one, you can't force people to segregate. And number two, you can't force people to integrate. People are going to deal with each other as they see fit with one another. And whether we like it or not.
Biases. Question your thinking, opinions, and judgments. Be mindful of what you say and how you say it. Challenge your assumptions. Are they fact?
All right, fine. All right, let's sit here and check out these first 4 points for battling unconscious bias, something that you literally cannot observe on your own. One, be aware of your own bias. It's an unconscious bias. How are you going to be aware of an unconscious thought? If you are conscious of these thoughts and opinions that you're having, then it is very obvious that it is not an unconscious bias. So we're just going to sit here and just to protect them intellectually, we're just going to imagine this first point just doesn't exist. Number one, question your thinking, opinions, and judgments. Okay, question them how. Look at them how. Through what lens? What do you mean? Which way should we be looking at things? I sit here and judge things mostly by the Christian way. Mostly. I'm not going to sit and say in all ways and all facets. Am I thinking wrong? The Bible says a lot of things that a lot of people don't agree with. I mean, so how does that work? Be mindful of what you say and how you say it. Yo, I just did a video. I just did a video. And I might have to sit there and kind of tell my daughter the opposite of what I just told her. You know, seeing I'm seeing that, that's exactly what I just be mindful of what you say and how you say it. Yeah, to be scared of these fools out here and challenge your assumptions. Are they fact based? Once again, they're not assumptions if you have a history. They're not assumptions if you have a history. That's just you protecting yourself. I'm gonna sit here and bring it right back to my first example. If a girl sat here and got raped and she having a hard time dealing with it, the and while she may sit there and have an ignorant, just not based in reality idea of men raping her, thinking that freaking out about it. Number one, she has to just go and resolve that issue. She has to resolve that through therapy, healing, family, community, church. And number two, she needs to not and she needs to not interact with men primarily on a very deep and personal basis until she has healed from that, or else she's going to waste everybody's time and everybody's just going to be mad, and she's going to end up causing more problems than she would if she had just sat there and just self-segregated herself in the first place and took the time to better herself and better heal herself.
Especially those who tend to have biases toward. Don't be defensive. Listen and be respectful. Hold yourself and each other accountable in positive ways. Avoid placing people.
All right. So let's sit here and talk about these 4 points that you're going to have to use to battle unconscious bias. One, get to know others, especially those you tend to have biases towards. I have biases towards murderers. Do I have to get to know them? I have biases. I'll sit here and be honest. I got biases towards the rich. Do I got to get to know them? I have biases towards other black people. Do I have to get to know them? Wait, but I am black. How does that work? I have biases towards people in my own damn family. So what do you mean by get to know them? Like, and in many of those cases, getting to know them only made it more obvious that we just can't hang together and be tight like that. Don't be defensive. Listen and be respectful. No stuff. That's actually very wise advice. Listen and be respectful. But don't be defensive. If you are worried, you have right to be defensive. You don't owe anybody this unneeded understanding that they didn't earn, that they don't deserve. If you don't want to give it to them, you don't have to give it to them. You don't owe anybody anything. Listen and be respectful, sure, but don't be defensive. No, you should protect yourself. You need to sit here and enter into each situation with a clear mind and just take your time. Next, hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself and each other accountable in positive ways. Um, okay, we gonna get back to that one because that's gonna be tied in the big issue I have with this video that made this video have to be made in the first place. And the last one, let's avoid generalizations or placing people into groups without facts. What are you talking about? We just sat there and we just did this. 19% of women are surgeons. 81% of surgeons are men. I mean, 81% of surgeons are men. 19% are women. That's not avoiding a generalization. That's just sitting here observing the general fact. And most therapists are women. When I think of a therapist, I don't think of a man. I mean, you have to sit here and say this dude's name for me to sit there and actually bring him up. Oh, Sigmund Freud. Oh yeah, Sigmund Freud. You have to say his name. Every other therapist, every other psychologist is a female because that's a female's field, largely.
Imagine positive interactions with others. Focus on the individual and not characteristics your brain shortcuts might use to place them in groups. Think inclusively. Ask yourself, who didn't I engage with or include, and why? Be inclusive. Provide the same, fair, and respect.
All right, now this is where we sit here and really start getting down into the rabbit hole of the problems that I have, and it's coming up in an example, their own example. I did not make this video. Number one, imagine positive interactions with others. Imagine? What do you mean, imagine? You're supposed to have positive interactions with others if you're making wise decisions in the people that you deal with on a daily basis. You don't sit here and build those interactions with your imagination. You build them in your reality. If you're not in a if you're with if you're friends with somebody who always puts you down, don't sit here and imagine how good it could be. Just acknowledge this is what it is, and either I'm going to put up with it or I'm not. Focus on the individual, not the characteristics your brain shortcuts might use to place them into groups. First of all, you're not always wrong. Sometimes you're wrong, yes, but my thing is, what you're doing protects you from bringing terrorists into your life. You don't look here. You don't. If you are scared or worried about people doing something to you, and you feel that the way you feel about that general group is bad, yeah, go seek therapy and everything. But it's not like you're doing it just to be a jerk. You're doing it to protect yourself. Think inclusively. Ask yourself, who didn't I engage with or include, and why? What? What? Are you collecting people like Pokemon now? You gotta catch them all. Okay, I need a disabled friend. I need an Asian homie. I'm gonna sit here and make sure my wife is white. I'm gonna sit here. No, come on, man. Let's be. No, no. That's madness. That's insanity. Be inclusive. Provide the same fair and respectful treatment and services to everybody. No, people do not deserve the same respectful treatment and services, because everybody is different. You give everybody their fair share. If you're a jerk, I'm not going to deal with you, and then you might think I'm a jerk too, and that's perfectly fine. If you're good to me, I'm good to you. I ain't giving you treatment and service for for you to be a garbage human being. And it's coming up, just coming up. Just give it 1 second. We're gonna get to the juicy part.
Which best represents an inclusive mindset? Number one or number two? Hi, Mark. Calling back to let you know I have a couple of people to help with the project.
Hold up. No. Hold up.
Alyssa. Well,
Hold up. We gonna have to bring this back. We're gonna have to bring this back. We're gonna have to bring this back. Because now we about to get into the juicy.
mindset. Number one or number two.
Alright.
Hi.
Hey, okay. Listen carefully to this. Listen carefully to this coming up. Listen very carefully. Because this spot right here shows you everything wrong with this inclusion thing. It is demonic. It is satanic. It is immoral. It destroys relationships. And honestly, if we let this go far enough, it will destroy the world. Now, I'm not sitting here saying this to sit here and be no doomsday sayer, but you have to see this and really tie this into everything I've really been doing up on this channel at this point. Let's sit here and really pay attention.
Fair and respectful treatment and services to everyone. Let's practice what you've learned. Which best represents an inclusive mindset? Number one or number two? Hi, Mark. Calling back to let you know I have a couple of people to help with the project. Alyssa. Well, no. She's not being considered. She's my best employee, but, well, she has 3 kids. And I worry about her ability to fully
No, stop freezing. No.
commit. Hi, Mark. Calling back to let you know I have a couple of people to help with the project. Alyssa? Yes. She's being considered. She's my best employee and has great skills to offer the project. If you said number two, you're right. We asked
Alright.
Alyssa.
Now,
Well, no.
now then, wait.
She's not being
Wait.
considered. She's
Now
my
then,
best
let me sit here.
employee,
Let me sit here and just bring this back. Let me bring this back. Alright. Now, I gave you the whole chunk, so you can just kind of think about that one on your own. But let's sit here and really break this down, because I just went through this. What the heck? No. Stop being ridiculous. Yeah, okay. It's about to go back. So the first thing we're going to say, talking about how I got skipped over for promotion for 10 years straight. For 10 years straight. And I never understood why. You know, here's the thing. The whole 10 years I've worked in production, never had a raise, never had a promotion, never understood why, never got feedback. And honestly, my only conclusion was that they were racist. And that was probably the case for some of them. A couple places excluded. A couple places excluded. But looking at this phone call in both directions, I'm sitting here starting to realize that maybe I wasn't good enough. And instead of telling me to improve, they just went, well, we don't want to exclude him. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pat him on the back, give him a participation trophy, no extra money, no promotion. He doesn't deserve it. But don't sit here and hurt his feelings. And that hurts me. But I ain't gonna sit here and make this personal. Let's sit here and make this about the person in this video, because this is made by the Women's Council and this is built to help and support women. I need to sit here and understand how exactly either of these helps and supports women. Because if I sat there and went through that, where I went 10 years, no promotion, 10 years, no raise. If the state didn't demand no raise, I wasn't getting one. 10 years. And I wonder how many, and my thing is to sit here and hear this conversation being told in both ways. I have to sit here and ask, how does this help women? To those on the ACT Women's Council, how does this really help women? How does pushing this narrative truly help women? Because, I want you to sit here and really pay attention to this. All right, please.
An inclusive mindset. Number one or number two. Hi, Mark. Calling back to let you know I have a couple of people to help with the project. Alyssa? Well, no. She's not being considered. She's the best employee, but, well, she has 3 kids, and I worry about her ability to fully commit.
Okay, stop. So here's my thing, and this is really what fucks up this whole inclusive thing. So let me get this straight. Alyssa got 3 kids. She's stretched thin, but the whole time she's stretched thin, she's tardy a few times. Uh, she has to leave in the middle of the shift to go handle things with the kids. Typical overburdened mom. Typical. It happens. And the company, despite valuing her hard work, do not value it enough to promote her, move her up, or even give her a nice little lion's share raise. Now, Circle K, they give raises. They give raises regularly. They don't play that. You will get paid at Circle K. Stick around long enough, they'll sit there and get you paid. Then they do promote. They will promote like crazy. So they don't really do that. But to the jobs who do this, and there are a lot of them who do this, you would be amazed at just how many jobs I've been at to where these moms would get in, they kick butt, everybody be patting them up. "Ooh, you so hard working, all that." And yeah, she would show up late sometimes, and yeah, she would have to sit there and skip work, and yeah, she would have to leave early from time to time. But if that was bothering y'all so much, why are y'all over here praising her? Because on one hand, you want to sit here and talk about how you ain't got no hard workers and you a hard worker and all that. But on the other hand, you hate that hard work so much that you don't want to promote it. You don't want to pay it. You don't want to acknowledge it. So is she a hard worker, or is she not doing enough? And what needs to happen is you have to give her feedback and call it what it is. Because there needs to be an option number 3. And number 2 is not that much better. But number one, at least it's honest. Number 2 is actually the worst one of the two, if we're gonna be honest. Number 2 is the worst one of the two because y'all are about to leave Alyssa slumming. Y'all about to screw her out of thousands of dollars because you don't want to sit here and tell the truth. You ain't doing enough. We got too many people who are sitting here showing up on time, not leaving early, not stretched thin. I'm gonna sit here and go with them. I can't go with you. And and I'm gonna get to that. We're gonna say and run through number 2. Then I'm gonna say and talk about what really should happen.
Calling back to let you know I have a couple of people to help with the project. Alyssa? Yes, she's being considered. She's the best employee.
All right, now this is where we sit here and get to the problem. Number 2 is it's such a big problem. Number 2 is at least with number 1 there was honesty and there was a way to work around it. With number 2, the blatant lack of honesty, the obvious just lack of respect for Alyssa and what she does. Number 1, as a mother and probably as a wife too, the lack of respect given, and this is created by a ads council that supports women. Because here's problem number 2. This project comes with a chance and an opportunity for Alyssa to grow and move outside of the shell of being just another working mom. Instead, you're gonna sit here and screw her over by bringing her along. You don't want her along. Let's just no. Let's just assume you go through with it and bring her along with you on the ride. She does not deserve this opportunity. She's been having issues with her tardies, issues with her with leaving early, issues with not showing up, and you're gonna sit here and bring her up to a higher level, closer to the bosses, so they can see that, so she can look bad. Because I know if I'm the CEO of the company and Alyssa's doing that at at, 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 at at somewhere close to a high level, moving up through the ranks, where you're gonna be brushing shoulders with the CEO. You ain't gonna see him all the time or nothing, but you're gonna see him like once a month. If you're seeing him once a month, if he sees that, you screwing her over. And then if you sit here and leave her behind, hold up, but you just sat here and said she's your hardest working employee. She your hardest working employee, but she ain't going with you to do this job, you know, to make this power move in her career. So is she hard working, or is she an overworked single mom? What's the answer? No, the answer is number three. Number three is you should have never let it get this bad. And you should have been giving her proper feedback as before this ever became a problem. You should have sat her down and said, "Listen, you hard working. You get your numbers and everything when you're here, but we need you here. And I want to sit here and make moves to promote you, but I need you to actually be here, show up on time. I need you to stay a full shift. I need to not have a hiccup from you for a few months." You want to know what Alyssa's going to say? Alyssa's either going to say, "I'm going to need to put in my 2 weeks notice," or I'm gonna sit here and make arrangements to better myself so I can move up in the company. Y'all sitting here feeling me like that to where we having a conversation about promotion and I'm messing up the program because I can't sit here and get a proper sitter. Here's what I'm about to do. I'm about to sit here, stop going to these cheap daycares that don't work too well around my schedule just because they're a little cheaper. I'm gonna sit here and pay that extra $75 to $100 at this other at this other daycare that's gonna better work around my schedule and honestly just be better for the kids, so I can sit here and do what I need to do to make this career work. You see how that works? You see, when you give people proper feedback that allows them to correct and rectify whatever's going on. The problem with number one and number two is that number one, yeah, you excluded her, but at least you excluded her for honestly a good reason. The problem with the with number one is that she doesn't know why she's being excluded. The problem with number two is maybe you included her and maybe you excluded her. But once again, she doesn't understand that she's not playing on that level, on a level that's high enough because you're not giving her the proper feedback for her to better herself and correct her game. And she can't correct her game without that feedback. One guy put it best: try to look at the back of your head without a mirror. You can't, but I can. you know, the back of your head is always with you, it's always around you, but you don't know what it looks like all the time because you can't see it. You need other people to see it for you. So if somebody sits there, if your barber plays a joke on you and cuts a dick into the back of your head, you're gonna be the last one who knows. You need feedback and you need that criticism from people so that you can correct yourself. This is why when people say God says don't judge, what are you talking about? You have to judge. You're surrounded by 7 billion people, each with a different personality, each with a different background. You have to judge. You have to separate the good from the bad. Moving on.
And has great skills to offer the project. If you said number two, you're right.
Insanity. I just I just can't. That is absolute insanity. Absolute madness. And my thing is, and this inclusion thing, this branches so much deeper than just the employment sector. I sit here and take the inclusion thing to the next level. Let's sit here and talk about not calling women fat and calling them thick. Let's talk about that. Hmm? Because that's basically the same thing. You don't want to sit here and exclude someone from your bed, from being your girlfriend, right? But you don't want her like that. You don't want her like that. And I really find it shocking when when like super rich up there guys do that. Oh no, you ain't fat, you thick, girl. And it's like, bro, you date supermodels. You wouldn't touch her with a 55.5 foot pole, dog. Like, what are you talking about? You have to exclude people, just like you have to include people. But you also have to use proper judgment, wisdom, understanding. Understanding must be backed up and supported by wisdom. You can't just sit here and bring people into your corner like that. And just like how it was with her example, you bring Alyssa with the 3 kids who's struggling to sit here and stay engaged and work up to the next level. First of all, Alyssa makes herself look bad. She gonna get fired, and Alyssa gonna make you look bad if you bring her up there. And if you exclude her, you want to know what she's gonna be doing? She's gonna be sitting there going like, "Yo, man, how come I ain't going nowhere in this company? I've been here. They keep telling me I'm hard working. I'm hard working. I'm hard working. Well, if I'm so hard working, then how come y'all don't want to commit to me? Right? I'm so hard working. Commit to me." Because my thing is, I sat here and literally reached out to be on a lot of these high profile projects, a lot of these big jobs and stuff, and I keep getting turned down. And meanwhile, the people who control my fate, they smiling in my face saying, "You such a hard worker, you my girl," and all that. Oh yeah, then promote me, bring me up, put some money in my check. I mean, this hurts everybody, and this branches. This goes so deep, and I mean, let's just sit here and even look at it from a paying, from a pay perspective. Let me sit here and let me sit here and see this right quick. Let me sit here and see this right quick. Calculator. Yeah, let's sit here and see this right quick. All right, 52 weeks in a year times, we'll say a 48-hour work week. No, 40. We'll keep it at 40. Keep it at 40 times a 40-hour work week equals, okay, 2,080 hours. 2,080 hours, and we're gonna multiply that times. Let's say we're gonna do the fight for $15. $15 an hour. All right. That's $31,200. All right, not great, but for example, it'll do. All right. Then we're gonna do 52 times 40, and this time we're gonna make it $17. Let's say, okay, she want to get a promotion or a raise, right? She want to get a promotion or a raise. All right. So we're gonna sit here. All right, that's 35,360. Let me see. We're gonna do, so 35,360 minus 31,200. Minus 31,200. Let me sit and tell you how this lie affects her. All right, how this lie affects her. From getting that $2 raise, because you're not telling her the truth and equipping her with the tools she needs to improve herself, you cost her $4,160 just using my mind. That $2 raise, your lie took food out of her children's mouths. That's Disneyland. We're not going to Disneyland now. We ain't getting a brand new used car. That's how far your lie just screwed her. Because you don't want to sit here and tell her she got to sit here and do more to come to work on time, or give her options. And let's just say, well, we don't want to exclude her. Well, if you exclude her, she will go somewhere where she will be better included. Because obviously, your company is not set up to deal with her and her demands. She's a mother. She's gonna be busy. Maybe she just needs to go somewhere where they're a little bit more understanding of that situation. Maybe she needs to go to a different career where they're a little bit more open with the schedule, and this isn't a problem. But it's a problem now. And you're sitting here screwing. And okay, this is just from $15 to $17. You sitting here, you just screwed her out of $4,160 because you don't want to tell her step your game up. She hurt me because of you. This is why women are on the bottom. Women are the poorest. They are the poorer gender. That is a statistical fact. Men are making way more as a group than women are as a group. This is a problem. This is not a little problem. This inclusion thing, this is hurting people. It definitely hurt me. I got dragged for 10 years, man. 10 years. Screwed over for 10 years. Unacceptable.
We ask that you think inclusively. Focus on the individual and not characteristics you might use to place them in groups. Let's practice what we've learned.
No, we ain't. Oh, you know what? Let's sit here and go through the nausea. Let's just sit here and just run through it. We might as well finish it through to the end.
Which greeting is more inclusive? Number one or number two? Hey, no hoodies allowed. Good morning. May I help you?
What are you talking about? The rule is no hoodies. You saying good morning, may I help you? Okay. Well, why do we have a no hoodie rule? We have a no hoodie rule because people who wear hoodies like to come in and stuff a whole damn box of Skittles in them bad boys and walk out. But with number two, while you being inclusive, you inviting terrorists into the damn workplace. And they gonna steal a little at first, then they gonna steal a lot, and then they gonna be holding a gun to your head ready to blow your brains out. No defensive strategy whatsoever.
Said number two. That's right. Always be inclusive. We ask that you provide the same fair and respectful treatment and services to everyone.
Impossible. Impossible, impossible, impossible. Impossible, impossible, impossible. 6 feet tall, big, strong, black dude. I will hold the door open for a disabled vet who can't walk straight. That's not me excluding people I would not hold the door open for, but this is to sit here and understand that I will choose who I will and who I will not hold the door open for. I don't hold the door open for my other able-bodied male friends, but I will hold the door open for that veteran, for that veteran stranger. You look here. You just have to do what you think is right for the situation. Hell, I don't hold the door open for every woman. Hey, a lot of women, shit, I let that door slam right in front of their damn face. But I'm around mom, I'm around the wife. Let me grab it.
Replacing bias with inclusive behaviors allows us to consider different points of view, maximizing creativity.
That's not the truth. I just sat here and showed you it doesn't maximize creativity. It limits creativity. It limits it because it prevents people from reaching the best version of themselves. It allows. If I'm a hard worker, why I gotta work harder? Isn't that a harder worker? We just throwing no extra ERs in order for me to be what a real hard worker is.
Creativity. Empower others to fully contribute. Enhance our culture. The promotion of our brand.
None of this works. None of this works. Empower others to fully contribute. Well, first of all, what is a full contribution? I mean, that's really what I have to ask about that. What is a full contribution? What is a contribution? What's a negative contribution? You didn't sit here and explain any of that. Next, enhance our culture, the promotion of our brand and positive business. Word salad. Word salad. Enhance our culture. Who's our? Who's that? That's definitely not my culture. I don't believe that.
And positive business outcomes. Inclusive behaviors foster an environment where we utilize our diverse experiences, skills, and perspectives.
Hey, look, it's a college photo where like everybody who doesn't look like each other and don't dress like each other and obviously come from just so many different backgrounds, so many different. I don't even think these people even listen to the same music. I don't think these people have like the same taste in romance. I don't think these people their literal connection is that everybody showed up to the same fast food restaurant. That is that is not a community. That is not a family. That is not a culture. That is mindless idiocy.
To better serve our diverse customers.
So basically, what you're telling me is that when I sit around a bus stop, right, I'm just supposed to just be cool with just everybody. For what? I mean, I'm supposed to sit here and just be warm and invite, go, hey, what's up, people on the bus stop? Why don't you just come into my house? No, I would look at somebody, whoever says something like that, and go like, you're crazy, you are insane, and you're probably gonna chop somebody up and leave them dead in the basement. And I mean, and my thing is that is an unconscious bias, but it's like you telling me to pull down all defenses around people who have a capacity for, I wouldn't even say bringing evil into your life, but just bringing mediocrity. If I'm aiming for excellence, just bringing mediocrity in my life. I got a lot of problems with that.
An environment of learning and growth as a team, allowing us to do what we do best every day, and creating a better experience.
That didn't create a better experience for everybody. That created a better experience for the board of directors who line their pockets with that money and leave people in the slums. This is not for everybody. This is communism. This inclusion. This is the new racism. Like, share. I don't say like and share all the time, but no, this time you gotta like and share this. This is bad, and I mean, this is. Look, I'm not rich. I'm a poor guy. You know, I hate saying poor, but it's what it is. I'm a poor guy. I'm making less than $40,000 a year. No, no, this is not good for people. People need to be criticized. People need feedback. That's just the truth. But I mean, that's it. That's all. More time out.